अगर मैं बेसिकली लेफ्ट स्क्रीन में जो भी है वो उनको really. Yeah, I can see all those pings coming in. Thank you. That actually makes me feel that I am talking to somebody. Otherwise, it's kind of lonely out here. Okay, so what I intend to do is that give you guys a kind of an overview as to how the English entertainment category of the Indian TV industry works out. I'll try to keep it, as basic as possible, while just getting enough under the skin so that you also get some more insight than just the outer skin. So I guess that you guys can see the starting slide of the PPT, right? Just reply with a yes so that I know that you guys can hear me and you guys can see the PPT as well. Okay, that's great. That's great. Okay, so we start off from here. This is how the session would flow primarily. We are going to see how the English language. Just give me one sec. I'm getting an important call. Just give me a sec. Yeah. So the session would I would start the session by giving you some numbers as to how the English language and we are also kind of going to see what are the emerging trends, whether uh, from a network point of view, what is the portfolio strategy that we would have. Where does HD channels as a bouquet and as a strategy stand? What happens to VOD, which is video on demand, and OTT services? I don't know if you guys have heard of OTT. It's over the top, which is basically your Hotstar, Voot, Sony Live kind of platforms, and the potential launches that are there, which categories, which networks can kind of tap into, whether it's movies, infotainment, lifestyle, music extension, what are the HD services or channels, so on and so forth. So yeah, so let's start. So before I kind of excuse me, start off, what do you guys think, as English as a language? Do you think it's kind of premium, or do you think it has become quite a bit of a mass language? So you guys can just chat in the chat box, just reply as premium or mass, according to your perception. Okay. I can see that some of you guys. Okay, Kanika, I just hope you are able to hear me. Maybe just try increasing the volume of your speakers. So there's some interesting numbers to be to think of. The various studies that the various data searches that we have done at our level, whether it is IRS, whether it is Google statistics, whether it is our own internal research, kind of shows us that 20% of India today is speaking English. Now, when I say speaking English, it doesn't mean fluent English. People speaking English, a kind of concoction of English and Hindi, or English and their native language is also counted in. As far as you can speak some English, you are counted in. And that kind of, counts up to almost 250 million people. So that's a huge chunk. That's like 25 crore Indians can speak English. So I think 25 crore as a number is a lot. It's more than the population of many countries. So in a sense, it's quite mass. 25 crores is a big number. So we are talking of a big number out here. And out of this, 4%, roughly 4% are fluent. Maybe people like you and me who are net savvy, who are on the web right now talking to each other. That kind of fluent English, around 4% of that number, which again, it's quite a good decent number. So that's a good number, and I think it's not premium anymore. It's quite mass, and somewhere, if you reflect on your own behavior, you would maybe prefer English commentary over Hindi commentary when you watch a cricket match, and that kind of reflects as to how English has penetrated. Now, if you see the booming, English media consumption, I've just thrown in some numbers for you guys. English entertainment reaches around 210 million people. Driven by digital growth, and that's a 35% growth in 5 years. Uh, you guys know what digital cable is, I'm guessing. Your Tata Sky, Dish TV, the set-top box, bandwagon. That's entirely digital cable. So that has kind of, brought in a lot of accountability in the TV industry, and that shows that around 210 million people are consuming English entertainment, which is English channels in some form or the other, and that's a 35% growth in 5 years. The number of English channels have gone up from 13 to 30 in the last 4 years. So yeah, so that's like a very healthy growth of consumption on one side and supply on the other side. So that's that. If you see print, there are 300 plus specialty English magazines that have been launched in the last 5 years, and cost per magazine has gone up 4 times. So I personally remember, I used to, I'm an avid reader of Overdrive and Autocar. The cost of those magazines have gone up roughly from 60 to 70 rupees to right now 150 and above in the last 4 years. So and I'm still paying for it. I'm still a subscriber. So yeah, so there is a market somewhere for a lot of English products. But while print has dipped 9% in US and 3% in UK, in India the English print media industry is growing pretty healthy. I won't say it's booming, but it's still growing at 7% CAGR. So while US, UK, a lot of European countries are showing dips in print media consumption, we are showing growth and 7% CAGR growth, which is quite moderate, quite good. It's not bad by any standard. In digital, the country, you can see it around yourselves that there are around 158 million internet users, and that number is set to surpass the US number, because 58% prefer browsing the net in English. We rarely see people browsing the net, in Hindi. So India is set to overtake US and China in both broadband and smartphone market. By this, we mean access as well as consumption, as well as time spent. Roughly this year or next year, it's it's kind of going to surpass. That's what the prediction says. Now, the new age Indian is we what we there's a jargon says global. It's a global mindset with local issues that are relevant to this Indian that we're talking of. And several lifestyle trends that have occurred recently. If you see, there are 25 international music festivals in India already, 132% rise in Indians traveling abroad in the past decade, 256% rise in Indians going abroad to study in past 10 years. That's of course before Donald Trump came to power. But these are kind of the larger the macro numbers that are there, and that's where you can see how the English language is prominent, and that's where we also, when we go abroad, we gel very easily into the culture. That is because English is not too foreign for us. It's kind of comes easily to us. Yes, our accent is different than the American accent or the European accent, but English comes quite easily. to us. Now, if you see how Hollywood has grown, in terms of uh, our their box office collection in India, that will also give you an indication as to how the language English has penetrated as a language into the different states and cities of India. And Hollywood currently commands around 10% of all movie revenues in India, from 3 to 4% what it used to be in 2005. And the data that I have here, you're seeing 10% of all movie revenues. It's a slightly backdated data. The data that I have is around 2 years old, around 2013. So 3 years old. So this percentage is steadily increasing. Today, because I'm in the media industry, I can tell you that the big banners are they alter their movie release dates if there is an Avengers a Marvel product is scheduled to go over the weekend, or there is a Wolverine or an X-Men franchisee, such kind of big movies, if they are scheduled, all your Shah Rukhs and Salmans, they do alter their dates accordingly, because nobody wants to jeopardize their business. So that kind of slowly it tells us that the growing clout that the English movies are enjoying, in our country. And today some of the big franchises sometimes release in India before US. So I think, if I'm not wrong, the last Avengers movie released a couple of days before US in India, either Avengers or one of the Marvel franchisee movies. So that kind of shows the importance that India has compared to the world in terms of the Hollywood releases. Now this is one slide that it's a bit of a technical slide, but it just gives you a snapshot of pre-digitization and post-digitization era. What I mean by pre-digitization is when cable used to be analog, when there was no set-top box. The red bars that you see, those are the pre-digitization era. You can see clearly that English channels, in whichever category, whether it's infotainment, whether it's movies, lifestyles, general entertainment, or music, they have seen an increase in reach as well as time spent by each viewer on the channel, on the category. सो ऐसा नहीं है कि व्यूअर का कंजम्पशन पैटर्न चेंज हुआ है. दैट्स नॉट पॉसिबल बिकॉज बिहेवियर डजंट चेंज easily. It just shows that the monitoring is happening much better. Accountability at the last mile is that much better because it's a digital media. Now we'll talk about how English on TV, the subgenres, consumptions, and market share, how it's working. So English on television, viewership and revenue, current standing of English-based entertainment. Now this is to kind of give you guys an idea about, roughly how the revenue is split. Now these are, estimates. Do not take these numbers by to heart, but it'll give you a fairly a good idea as to how each of the genres within English are performing in terms of viewership as well as advertising revenue. Okay, and on the left side you will see that the different categories of TV channels. Whether now the green portion that you see here, Hindi GEC 29%. Your Hindi GEC would be a Star Plus, a Colors, a ZTV, a Sony, those channels, right? Then the Hindi movies, the kids, then there's Hindi news. Out here, a small minuscule percent in the red is what English entertainment is. Okay. Now English entertainment would include English movies, English general entertainment channels, music channels, lifestyle channels, everything, which is from Star Movies, Z Studio, to a Z Cafe, to a Star World, to a Colors Infinity, Comedy Central, to something in music, which is like VH1 and 9XO, everything, all English entertainment. That comprises just 3% of the overall viewership, or as we would like to say in the industry, that's what is getting measured. The actual viewership may be higher, but as per BARC, earlier it was TAM, is this is what was getting measured. However, you will see that although we get only 3% of the viewership share, 7% of the advertising revenue comes to this small niche segment. Just 1 second. Yeah, so English entertainment currently gets around 7% of the share. News is highly indexed to English, which means that uh, you know number of rupees allotted per viewer is way higher for the English genre compared to other genres like Hindi or regional languages. And perhaps one of the hypotheses you can make out of this is that the advertisers feel that the English speaking viewer has a higher disposable income, so it's better, it's more effective for me to sell L'Oreal cream, a premium L'Oreal cream, to a Star World or a Colors Infinity viewer than compared to let's say a Masti channel or one of the regional channels like Star Prava. There can be many hypotheses. So yeah, just 1 second. Suyash, I hope you are able to hear me. So I'm sitting in a silent room, so I don't know what I can do. Um, Maybe you can increase your speaker volume a bit. Yes, Sagar. The CPT is higher due to high profiling of audience, which to dejargonize it basically means that per thousand people that I reach out to, uh, the English viewer is higher because the English viewer is perceived to have the buying power. The English viewer is perceived to be more affluent than the other category viewers. Uh, while we make that assumption, let's be also very very clear that there is high duplication. So, for example, if I'm an English channel viewer, I would also watch Star Plus and Colors, and yes, so there is duplication. So when I'm watching Colors, it doesn't mean that my buying power decreases, and when I'm watching Colors Infinity, it increases. It's not like that. But yeah, that's the general assumption at a large level. Now, to delve a bit deeper within the English category, if you start seeing what the shares are, your infotainment and lifestyle takes around 58% of the viewership. The next highest is movies, around 34%. Movies is your Star Movies, Movies Now kind of channels. The GEC, which I am currently working on, which is Colors Infinity, Comedy Central, VH1. VH1 is music, sorry. Uh, they comprise around 6%. Okay. However, again, within these smaller subcategories within English, you will see that the GEC and the movies are quite highly indexed in terms of the monies, the revenues that come in. So for movies as well as GEC, uh, the indexation works in its favor, and the cost per thousand is higher because within English also it is perceived that the GEC viewer, is going to, have potentially even more spending power. That's how the advertisers perceive it to be. Which, yeah, I mean, empirically it's true because people who watch maybe a Game of Thrones, who are loyal to it, or they watch Suits, or any such kind of Master Chef Australia kind of shows over multiple seasons, they might be more evolved, and they might be more, what do I say, uh, better suited for premium brands. Let's say a Godrej Nature's Basket, they would want to kind of associate with such viewers who watch MasterChef Australia over a long period of time. Just giving you an example. So that's why within English also, the GEC category and the movies category is highly indexed. So although the viewership pie is lesser, the revenue pie, as you can see, is completely taken by the movies and the GEC channels. Uh, Now, the the portfolio that we have, which is Colors Infinity, Comedy Central, VH1, uh, we are basically playing within this 8% of potential viewership. However, it garners, we are aiming at around 17% of the English advertising revenue. As you can see, again, we are going niche, but we are due to better targeting, our margins would be better. So that's the play that we are doing. So we are getting into a niche, but the margins is what we are aiming for. Now, if you look at the network level, the different networks that are there in India, it gives you kind of an idea as to what the viewership are. The left-hand side pie talks about the viewership share. Star takes the lion's share along with Discovery in terms of viewership. However, in terms of the revenue share, it's kind of, it's not as proclaimed as the viewership share looks like. The revenue is kind of more distributed, and as you will see going forward, networks with a wider portfolio of English channels, they tend to do better. So your Fox and Foxstar and Discovery and all, they have more number of channels, which kind of helps you to build a robust portfolio to get in more monies. Um, yeah. So if we need to kind of deep dive into each of the network, sorry, just give me 1 minute. Was the first, if not one of the first channels to kind of enter India with English. And at one point of time, early 90s, Star Plus was the English offering. And yeah, so then Star Plus converted into Hindi. So if you see the strengths, the first mover advantage across genres is there with Star. They kind of get the latest content and the biggest acquisitions. They're pretty aggressive in that sense. They have a strong parent in Fox Studio. They have very good distribution presence, 100% availability, which is across cable networks in India. They are present. They have a good strong bouquet of HD channels in English, which is very important because the English viewer, would want to watch the channel in HD, and they have built a strong portfolio of flanker channels. By flanker channels, we mean that you have a Star Movies and then you have a Star Movies Action. So that's called a flanker channel. Perhaps the only chink in the armor is they do not have a strong online presence, which they are trying to address now with Hotstar. Now, on Hotstar, earlier they didn't have much of English content, but today, if you subscribe to Hotstar Premium, then they do have Fox Studio shows and HBO shows on Hotstar Premium, including your Game of Thrones. So they are trying to kind of address this gap. So going forward, they are working, and as you can see, it's a very very strong player. Uh, as far as Sony is concerned, it's a mixed bag. It has a very strong lineage. Axon is an early entrant into the category. It is very strong in terms of reach. because it has managed to penetrate most of the markets. Most of the cable wallas carry AXN, so it has that reach. It has strengthened its fiction, its content pipeline because it has a deal with CBS. Uh, Pix has been challenging movies on the number one rating. So Pix is always a strong contender in the movies category. It's always there in terms of viewership in the top three. Uh, it's got a strong backing from the when your parent is Sony Studios, and you have strong pan Asian deals. It's good because Sony Studios kind of brings in that lineage. It's one of the biggest studios in the world. So and it has good deals, across uh, Asian movies also, thanks to Sony. So yeah, and because of this lineage, because of the legacy, they also managed to get a premium rate in the market. So the revenues, it helps the revenues to a great deal. But earlier it used to be a very male brand. AXN in one at one point of time used to denote action. That was a cool way of saying AXN. But now it has kind of diversified into family audience channels. So it's more to do with a wider audience. That is what is required. Uh, Competition has been eating into AXN's viewership a lot of late, and it's not been as strong in the English category as it used to be. And Pix is dependent on mostly non-Sony titles as well, because they source their movies from Paramount and MGM a lot. So I think there is some issues with the movie content pipeline that Pix has with the other guys. For Turner, if you see, HBO is a strong brand that Turner had. Strong content and trade perception. HBO has an excellent trade perception. Lineage as one of the first players in the market. It has good Asia content deals. When we say Asia content deals, we mean all those Chinese movies that you see, or Southeast Asian movies that you see. Those are the Asia content deals also. So that kind of brings in the rating a lot. So all those movies are more to do with visual. It doesn't need much language to understand. So it kind of really gets into the masses in India, and it rates well. It has a strong presence on VOD space, which means you have your HBO hits, HBO defined kind of channels. It has good presence online also. There are some premium products which you can kind of the apps are there which you can buy or subscribe into and see their shows. And they have been early mover in premium services. Uh, However, of late they have been slipping in ratings, and somehow they have not been able to utilize the content that they have to the fullest extent. Now, if you see Z Network, well, it's one of the strongest you know networks in the country. Uh, you know, it's always been by default it gets included in media plans for most advertisers, and that's the strength of the Z Network, the Z brand. Uh, Legacy content deals is what they have with studios for Z Cafe, and a recent Warner Plus Disney first run deal for TV series, they have cracked these deals, which really give them an edge in the content market, and they have kind of revamped their on-air look and feel, which kind of pushes them into a more premium looking perception. uh, well, gaps, it lacks the network's backing. The network is mostly focused on its Hindi channels. So somewhere, because it lacks the focus internally, it kind of floats around, and the English channels actually ride on the strong network. They may not have their own legs to stand on. So that's the problem, and they only have GEC and movies, just two categories in English. So not too many subcategories. However, they are getting into HD content. They are trying to invest more in content, buying more content. So Z is a strong network, is a strong player, and never we never count them out. So yeah, it's kind of a strong player to be in. Discovery, as you saw earlier, has a good bouquet of channels, garners a lot of viewership. So the strength is that strong pan-Asian global content synergy and pipeline. Discovery is huge, outside India. So they are also, they also become a default inclusion in most advertisers' media plans. They have moved early into the country, hence they enjoy a good recall value in the advertiser's mind. They started infotainment in India in a way, so they're the thought leaders. One of the good things that they do is they have multilingual feeds. So your Discovery channel on your Tata Sky or Airtel TV, you can actually change the language feed. So you can have English and you can watch the channel in Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, different languages. So that kind of gets them that incremental reach, and hence they enjoy the edge when it comes to getting some additional revenues as well. And they have their HD channels in place. That helps. Uh, Gaps as well, because of the nature and the brand that they are only into infotainment space. They don't have shows. They don't have reality and fiction shows. Um, and hence their lower CPRP benchmarks despite high ratings. So, the cost per rating point is lower than the category because the advertisers want to associate with, let's say, a Kevin Spacey in House of Cards versus some wildlife show or infotainment show. So it kind of brings their cost CPRP down. So, well, that's the problem, and hence they have not been able to monetize the brand as well as they're able to do it outside India. Well, they're launching more HD channels. They are getting into investigation. There is a TLC, Animal Planet, and TLC has been launched in HD. So they are working on their portfolio. They are expanding the portfolio in that sense. Well, the Times Group is also present. It as a group it focuses mostly on English products, which to say is, let's say, the Times of India paper. You have your Bombay Times, Delhi Times kind of supplements. In English channels, they have Times Now, ET Now, which kind of are strong number one or a number two in their own categories, and they have movies now and Romedy now in the English entertainment space. Now they have recently launched a lot of channels, MN Plus, MN Plus 2, so on and so forth. So yeah, so as a group, their focus is on English. They have a lot of marketing muscle in terms of Times of India, Radio Mirchi. They have their own internet portals like Ghana.com or their own websites. They have outdoor sites. They have a strong channel in Times Now in the house. So yeah, so basically they have a lot of marketing muscle to kind of push their English channels out in the market. Romedy now has been a recent launch in the last 2.5 years, and it really sits well because it has differentiated itself very well in terms of a brand as well as content. Um the gap is that there is no parent studio which is backing Times. So there is a Star has a Fox, Viacom 18 has Viacom and CBS, to kind of back. But movies now doesn't have a parent studio, so it kind of has to buy each and every content that it shows on the channels. So that kind of the lineage and the backing, the lack of it, can be a disadvantage. And their market share, hence, has been falling. Whether it's the lack of quality content that they're acquiring, or due to certain strategies, but somehow their market share seems to be falling overall. NDTV, good times. Well, it used to be a good player. Right now, it's kind of fledgling. It relies very heavily on advertiser-funded programs. It has efficiencies in terms of CPRP compared to competition. Wide range of clients because of English content. So it uses a good mix of English and Hindi in the programming. And it has rebranded recently, so it kind of gives the channel a bit of a refresh. However, um, the inventory is uh, the sales are lower, struggling with perception, dipping ratings. Uh, Praveen, I will just get back to you on that. I think I would have some current numbers, and at the end of the session, I'll get back to you. Now, Viacom 18, which is where I work, it has the advantage of having very, cult brands like VH1 and Comedy Central. They are huge, massive international brands that there are there. Innovations and client customizations is something which Viacom 18 excels in, and the trade also respects the focus that Viacom 18 has on each of its brands. And Viacom 18 has a good lineage because Viacom as a company is one of the biggest in the world, backed by CBS Studios, uh, and Network 18, which is now owned by Reliance. So in terms of the parent, it's a 50-50 joint venture. So very strong, two strong parents backing this network. So yeah. So in terms of gap, we know that we have a few gaps. We do not have an English movie channel, um, and that kind of hampers our reach and hence hampers the revenue potential as well. Acquisitions are difficult due to earlier we just had Comedy Central, so hence to rectify this, we have recently launched Colors Infinity. I don't know if you guys have had the chance to see the channel. So Colors Infinity is the latest edition and it's doing well for us. It has met and surpassed the benchmarks that we had set for ourselves. Um, and the distribution is kind of patchy. We are working on it, and it's improving day on day. And with Colors Infinity, we have finally got into HD. We have launched VH1 in HD as well. So the last 2 or 3 bullet points that you are seeing is being addressed. So in the going months forward, we should be there strongly in HD across digital platforms, whether it's your DTH or cable, basically set-top boxes. uh, the focus areas that Viacom 18 is based on the gaps. Now we are very clear as to what why we are in the market. We want to build the most advanced brands that entertain largest number of English speaking audience across India through multiple touch points in their life space. Now, the operating key operating word is admired brands because Viacom 18 worldwide has brands like MTV, VH1, Comedy Central, Nick, Nickelodeon, that is. So all of these brands, they are massive brands, and they're admired worldwide, whether it is by audiences or whether it is the advertisers. So that is a very the driving thing for us at Viacom 18. And Viacom 18, we kind of try to we have 3 points that we try to address. That we want to reach out to the largest uh, chunk of English speaking audience. We want to entertain them through multiple platforms. So we have TV. We have recently launched Voot, VOOT, which is our OTT platform. So you download the Voot app and you'll be able to sample a lot of content. And we are building an interdependent portfolio as a network. So we have departments like Live and all, which does Supersonic, which does Comedy Central, Chuckle Fest, which is a mix of on-ground properties as well as on-air properties. So we are trying to synergize a lot of things basis these 3 points. Now, this is our core mission to kind of really reach out to the largest English speaking audience chunk in India. And if you see in terms of how the viewership stands in terms of the x-axis, left is male, right is female. Okay. And the downward, the y-axis, when you go down, you will be able, the map is such that it's small towns, a more mass appeal downwards, and upwards it's more centric and it's more niche. So you see that the music and GEC content is more in the metrocentric and niche category, whereas movies, infotainment, lifestyle kind of uh, gives you the reach, but it goes into your small town category. So so there is no this category is important or that category is important. All categories are important, and as a network, you need to be present in each of these categories to give the advertiser that much options. Now, if you see, the reach that is there across markets, infotainment and movies are consumed across the board. So your infotainment is the leftmost pyramid that you see, and English music is kind of tapers off. So that has the least reach in terms of audiences. So while this will get up, it's a slightly older data, but it will still give you an idea. The trends remain the same as of now. Again, these are a few graphs which you can digest later once I upload the PPT. So Viacom 18 lacks the reach that a Star Discovery enjoys, or the time spent per viewer that channels like HBO and movies now enjoy. So that is where Viacom 18 kind of lags behind, and we are working on it. So we exactly know uh, where are the need gaps, and which are the areas that we kind of need to work on. Now, 48% of the advertising in English space happens for all India audience numbers, so beyond metros. So if we feel that the advertisers are coming on the channel to kind of address only the metro audience, that's not true. So it's at an all India level, around 430 crores worth of advertising. Advertisers look at spending 430 crores to reach a all India English speaking target group. So it's a myth that only uh, the advertisers would want to reach to metros. Now, if you kind of summarize the current English channels market, just give me a minute. So in TV, English entertainment space is highly indexed in terms of ad revenues. As I said, this basically means that cost per thousand cost per thousand viewers is way higher in English entertainment than it is in Hindi or any other entertainment, because it's perceived to be a higher disposable income viewership. Viacom 18's English focuses only within 17% of the potential English advertising, because that's where the profit lies. And movies and multilingual infotainment are the biggest genres right now in terms of revenues and audience share. So if we now get into certain emerging trends that that are already activated, as you can see, if you're observant, you'll be able to kind of reflect now. Uh, in 2012, this is how the landscape looked like. You know, in entertainment, movies, infotainment, lifestyle, music. I'll just leave the slide for 15 seconds so that you guys can absorb what was happening in 2012. Look at how 2013 changed. So these are the channels that got launched: Star World Premier HD, Star Movies Action, Comedy Now, HBO Hits and Define. Uh, so every year there is a lot of channels launching. The slides will be updated. Colors Infinity launched in 2016, and so on and so forth. Now networks are building their English portfolio, as you can see. Now acquisition leverage with major studios clubbing ad sales deals, segmentation is on the rise. A Star has Fox Crime and FX in the house, which has benefited from digitization. It is now placed among the top three in English GC packs. Romedy now has been launched as a flanker brand to Movies Now. So while Movies Now is, if I would say, it's completely adrenaline driven, targeting the male viewer, so to say. Romedy Now is the softer brand. It targets the females also, or it's more conducive for family viewing. So it's a very good flanker brand to Movies Now, kind of rounds up the portfolio for Times Group. Star Movies Action, all out action movie channel. So as you can see, there are lots of flanker brands that are coming up. And these flanker brands, they what they do is they try to take on the competition in a different way. So FX tries to take on AXN. A Romedy Now of Times tries to take on Comedy Central or Viacom 18. Star Movies Action is taking on Movies Now. So these are what the flanker brands they try to achieve. Now, as you guys know, there are two sources of revenue for the TV industry. One is subscription, which is what the monthly cable bill that you pay, or the monthly Tata Sky Airtel subscription that you pay. And the second source of revenue is uh, the advertisers who advertise on our channels. Now, the subscription channels have seen a rise over the last 5 years. As more digitization has happened, more set-top boxes are in play. You would see a Star World Premiere kind of channel, which is a subscription-driven channel coming in. HBO Hits and Define, Romedy Now HD. So these are all subscription-based channels, which you will need to pay a small fee, and you will get to watch better content and more premium content. A Foxstar portfolio has a revenue share of around 36%, with a client, the top 50 clients who contribute to almost 60% of English ad revenues. That kind of shows the strength of the Start portfolio. Viacom is right now focusing on building a stronger English portfolio in India. These are some of the brands that are very strong abroad. As you can see, not all of them are present in India as of now. We have MTV, Comedy Central, BH1, and Nick that are present in India. So yeah, so there are lots of brands, many brands actually beyond this slide that are there internationally for Viacom. And going forward, HD becomes an extremely important phase to be in. And the HD subscription is expected to kind of double year on year going forward. So where it was 3.5 million subscriptions in 2013, it's 8 million in 2015, and so on. So Praveen, this kind of addresses your question that HD channels are expected to grow from 40 channels in 2013 to 130 in 2017. Uh, so while these are numbers till 2015, at the end of the presentation, I'll see if I have the data to show you as to how many channels are there in 2017 as on date. Just hold on, I'll just check right away. Okay, I'm unable to find that data right now. I'll have to come back to you guys. Uh, So all India HD, the reach has been growing from 13 million in January 2014 to what, around 18.7 million in June 2014. So that's a huge rise. English HD channels reach has been growing consistently. Star World has grown from grown by 78%. And the trend is only upwards because as the HD TV sales go up, as the HD set-top boxes are more readily available, uh, this will only go up, and as the broadband speeds in India also increase, uh, this is kind of going to what would I say, sensitize the viewers to how HD quality is a way superior quality than standard definition. So what we are expecting is by the end of fiscal year 2018, HD will be the new normal in English. So I don't know if like standard will continue, but the game would completely shift to the HD category. Now, if you see that all networks are ramping up English services due to digitization, and thanks to digitization, the cost of entry has reduced, addressability has increased. We are able to kind of, uh, it's much more easier to lead into the HD category now. Portfolios flanker channels attacking the competition for number three positions, as I just showed you guys. And HD has become the hygiene today. It's no longer something that you can boast of. It's something that you need. And going forward, technology, broadband, that's increasing. And you guys have you guys heard the term called cord cutting? You guys can reply in yes or no. Okay, so most of you guys have not heard of cord cutting. So let me explain this to you. Uh, you guys get TV at your home either through a cable wala or like a Hathway or in cable or so on and so forth, or you have a Tata Sky or a Airtel. Now, cable wala, the cable connection comes into your building through a cord, right? And that cord enters your flat or your house. Similarly, for Tata Sky or Airtel, there is a dish outside the window. Uh, there is a wire, there is a cable coming in from the dish into your house. Uh, Now, what Netflix or Amazon Prime has done is if you have an internet connection and your TV is a smart TV, a Wi Fi enabled TV, there is no cord. And cord cutting is to cut off the cord, to cut off the middle people, the middlemen, which is basically the cable operator or the DTH operator, and the broadcaster reaches directly to the consumer. So today, cord cutting in India means a hot star where Star TV network is able to reach out to you directly without a Tata Sky or a Hathway or a in cable sitting in the middle, without a facilitator. So that's called cord cutting. That the phenomena is called cord cutting. In the TV jargon, in the TV industry jargon, we call it OTT, which is over the top. So over the top, matlab the broadcaster is directly reaching out to the consumer. There is no middle distribution. So in FMCG, it's like there used to be a big bazaar, but suddenly if you have a Unilever opening up its own .com, and the consumers going to the .com and buying the soap directly. It's like that. So that's called cord cutting. The phenomena is called cord cutting, and OTT is over the top, which is directly reaching to the consumer. And cord cutting is increasingly becoming the phenomena in US. So these are some of the article snapshots which kind of shows you that today in America a lot of people are actually disconnecting their cable connection and relying completely on Netflix or Amazon Prime Video. They have Hulu as well. They have a lot of options. So, they get their daily dose of shows and sports and news and everything through such streaming sites. Now, closer home, to look at the internet scenario, so to say, these are slightly a year older data, but it kind of still it's the data is so big. The sizable sample, 158 million people claim to be internet users. 80% of them are graduates. 72% are from urban India. 58% prefer to surf in English language. you know so the core tg time spent, so when I say core tg, it is the core tg of the English entertainment category. uh, Internet, they spend around 4 hours per day. However, on TV they spend 3 hours per day, which means that future mean in the future this tg is going to spend more and more time online than on TV. That can be an inference. May or may not be true. We marketeers love to make predictions. This is a prediction, but may or may not be true. But that's how the trend looks like. 56% consumers in 10 to 24-year-old SEC segment prefer streaming their shows online compared to watching on TV. 48% go online to watch episodes they missed. 66% people don't think piracy is a sin. Now, India, as you guys know, is the number one country when it comes to illegal downloads. Worldwide piracy levels are around at 42%, and India is at 70% out of that chunk. So that's where we are right now. Now, 11% listen to music on TV, 44% people listen to music on mobile, and 21% listen to the music on the laptop or PC, which means that you know music consumption is also going graduating from TV to a handheld device or the computer. And in our survey, MTV survey, 52% people claim that they have paid for the music or the movie album that they have you know yeah. And but I doubt. So that's why we are taking this with a pinch of salt, and we are saying that they are claiming that they are paid for music, but that may not be true. However, things are changing with Apple Music and Savan and Ghana.com. They are all having the premium services launched, which charges a small fee per month and gives you an ad-free experience. Uh, that's quite reasonable. So actually, the subscriptions are going up. And yes, Soumya, radio is also there. That's right. Yes, Satya. So there are lots of services. Wink is a service. Ghana, Savan, Apple Music come to my mind. Globally, Spotify is massive. It has not entered India yet. So that's that. So emerging technologies for our core audience. If we need to see, it's like video on demand is the next big thing. Now, my Airtel box has a section called video on demand, but Airtel hasn't activated it. It basically means that uh, some of the shows get stored in the cloud, and I go and I click on it, and it will stream that show. So I think Geo TV has uh, advertised this feature of theirs. So uh, they are going to record 7 days or 15 days worth of TV. They're going to keep it on the cloud, and if you have missed the episode of your favorite show, you can kind of go to their page, their app, and you can stream that show. So that's called video on demand. You watch the video as you wanted, when you wanted, and as much as you want. So that's what it is. Now, Everywhere TV has also arrived in India. Tata Sky has its own app where they stream live TV. And it has seen well over 1.5 million downloads. 64% activity happens during evening hours when people return from work. So mostly it's an urban phenomena. When you are traveling in the train or stuck in traffic jam, you would want to catch up on some TV, and that's where the viewing pattern is. and 60% of viewing happens on 3G or 4G. If you see the app market in India, TV apps, while the demand is high, where people do want it, uh, they are not willing to pay for it. So they want it to be free, which means for us, the broadcasters, um, we our revenue model has to be very advertiser driven. Now, one of the figures that we got from ComScore also says that not all smartphone users in India at large download a lot of apps. So if the apps are bundled into the phone while you buy it out of the box, it helps. And 90% of them prefer free apps. They're not willing to pay for it. Only 1.5% of smartphone owners have ever paid for an app. That is abysmally low. 60% of the app downloads are entertainment apps. Your entertainment apps will include your gaming apps as well. 21 million have a TV app on their smartphone. That's a quite a big number. 21 million people have a TV app on their smartphone, which means OTT app, which is a Hotstar, Sony Live, or a Voot kind of app, or a Tata Sky or a Dish TV live streaming app. Yeah, in-app purchase might be higher, but the data at least I don't have. You are free to do the research, Aryan, on your own. However, the paid apps as such, if you, I mean, the conversations that I have had with my friends in Ghana and Savan, they tell me that the number of premium subscribers they have, I mean, are in thousands. However, the number of users that they have, active users, which is the free service user, they are in millions. So in terms of proportion of in-app purchase for an app like Savan or Ghana, it's a fraction of their overall user base. It's in the low 1-2% user base kind of thing. If you tell me about gaming apps, then sorry, I'm not the subject matter expert. I cannot comment on it. Gaming apps may have a lot of in-app purchases, which I don't know. If we have to kind of see the overall user base, so to say, and by user base I mean at least they have used it at least once. This is what the user base looks like in India. So the set-top boxes, the digital cable, which is DTH and set-top box, it's around 264 million, which is roughly 26.4 crores. Uh, Out of that, HD has around 7.7 crore users. Your premier services, which is those paper view channels that you have, like HBO hits defined included, they are just 5 lakh. They're not even half a million. So that's how. So forget app purchases. It's like even within a DTH or a digital cable, people do not pay for those channels. That so many of the channels that you see on Tata Sky or Airtel, very few people are willing to pay for a premium channel. The numbers are pretty low, and VOD viewers are also much lower. Uh, Everywhere TV, all included your Tata Sky, Dish, Voot. They estimate the number of active users to be around 60 million, but this number is kind of debatable. We get different kinds of numbers from different sources, but this is to be taken with a pinch of salt just to give you an idea as to uh, what the bases look like. The OTT streaming seems strong at around 40 million. OTT streaming would include your Hotstar, Voot, Sony Live. Um, Z also has a OTT app. So that looks, the number looks like this, which is active users. But yeah, these numbers are because what happens is in TV, we had TAM, and now we have BARC, and there is only one metric, one measurement. So the numbers are quite accurate. In digital, there is no one single source. So hence, different people and different sources paint a slightly different picture. So कॉमस्कोर से एक फिगर आता है, गूगल से एक फिगर आता है, so we kind of see a lot of figures and we don't know which figure to trust. So that's been a problem with the digital you know anyways. I guess going forward there would be better measurement and metrics. To give you a kind of a snapshot as to how each of the networks are doing, just have a look at this slide. It will help you understand where we are right now. Star has premier services, which is your Star World Premier kind of things. TV everywhere. Well, although those apps have been launched on Tata Sky and Dish, Tata Sky and Dish, not every network has given their content has not made their content available on those platforms. Uh, so colors shows may not be available on that Tata Sky app. So hence Viacom 18 Star may not be available. Sony and Z has made a few shows available. But each of these networks, they have their own apps. It can have their individual channel apps, and now the OTT streaming app. So the difference between app and OTT streaming is, I can tell you for Viacom, we have a colors channel app and we have a Voot which streams content. That's the difference between the last two. So these networks, either they have their channel apps or they have certain other apps, and OTT streaming is the video streaming app that is there. So yes, Kanika. So Hotstar, they are pegging it as TV everywhere. However, it's not fully TV everywhere. Let me explain you why. On Hotstar, you will be able to see content of Star Plus, which is their own channel, so they create the content. They have rights to it. Uh, you will be able to see sports to the extent of the cricket rights that Star has. However, on Hotstar, you will not be able to see uh, the movies that you see on Star Movies. So let's say, for example, uh, Star Movies shows you Avengers or Iron Man. Hotstar will may not be having that in their library because those English movies need to be bought separately. The rights for online streaming has to be bought separately. It is not bundled with the broadcast rights. So it is not truly a TV everywhere app. It is an independent app. However, you know the original content that is being developed by Star will be available on Hotstar. Some of the foreign content may be available on the premium service. So you have to buy Hotstar Premium. You will be able to see some HBO shows and some Fox Studio shows and the cricket. So even on Star Sports, for example, I'm just giving an example. I may be wrong. Star Sports may show you tennis and Formula One sports live. Hotstar may or may not show you those sports live because they may or may not have the live broadcasting rights. So that's how it's slightly different from TV everywhere. TV everywhere is supposed to be an app which mirrors the TV. तो मतलब टीवी पे ऐड चल रहा है तो वो भी आपको टीवी एवरीवेयर ऐप में दिखाई देगा. That's the concept of TV everywhere. And Tata Sky and Dish had started off, but the OTT apps have become stronger than the TV everywhere apps. I think going forward, TV everywhere will fall off and OTT will take over. That's my reading of the situation. Uh, Praveen, mobile user base would be higher alone. Geo TV base will be roughly 50 million. I didn't understand your question, Praveen. So kind of to sum up the session and some observations that I have made is that we need to be available to our consumers at their convenience, not ours. So TV as we know it, we call it a linear medium. Linear medium matlab at 9 p.m. if I'm airing Friends on Comedy Central, so that's it. It's a one-way thing. However, going forward, that's not going to be the case. A Praveen or a Kanika or Aryan, they would want to watch House of Cards or Suits or Friends or whichever their favorite shows are uh, when they want to watch it. If it's 11 a.m. in the night, in the morning, or 11 p.m. in the night. If they want to pause the show, they want to walk out and come in again, they would want to do that. So those things are becoming more and more important. That's called non-linear media. So TV, which is a more of a linear media, is evolving into a non-linear media. And in one of the conferences, somebody made a valid point to us saying that TV is evolving. It is not that Netflix is any different. Netflix is TV only. It is shedding skin like a snake. The TV which was getting supplied to us in a cable in a linear format is now shifting to internet, and you have Netflix, which you would still want to watch on a larger screen. So you are buying a smart TV to watch Netflix. You enjoy watching Netflix on a larger screen. So TV is just evolving. It is changing skin, going from a linear media to a interactive media thanks to the internet. So that's how TV is evolving. So instead of linear one-way broadcast, it is going to be a two-way interaction over the internet. That's how TV is evolving. We need to develop so hence the broadcasters kind of need to develop their own apps, need to develop their own OTT solutions to address this new evolution of non-linear programming, non-linear media usage. And the problem is that TV everywhere or OTT kind of solutions will cost, and the deals for us, for the broadcasters, we need to pay a higher fee to acquire content for that kind of shows or movies that we buy for OTT. Hence, it costs us a premium, and it becomes extremely difficult for us to give those services for free. Hence, either it has to be monetized in terms of advertising, or it has to be monetized through subscriptions, which is a bit of a challenge right now. So yeah, so monetization, is a challenge. The right mix is very important. Uh, as each one of you know, none of us like to see those irritating ads on YouTube. When you clicked on your video on YouTube and you are forced to see a 10-second or a 15-second ad before the video starts, you don't like it. But otherwise, how will YouTube make their money? Because there are costs involved. And if you remove the ad and if you try to sell out a premium model like a Hotstar premium, then the subscriptions don't go up, and the broadcaster doesn't make money. So right now it's in that phase where we don't know which model is going to work. There's a jargon going around the room. We call it freemium. So Savan works on freemium model. Freemium means that it's a free service with ads, and you need to pay a subscription to make it ad free. That's the simplistic, explanation of the freemium model. So yeah, so there are different models that are coming up, you know, and none of the models have proved to be profitable as yet. So Netflix has proved to be profitable in US. They have made some money, but because they're expanding worldwide and so on and so forth, I'm not so sure whether at the global level they are making money, because the rights for the shows in each country needs to be bought separately. So so that's that. So yeah, so for broadcasters like us, Viacom 18 and Star and so on and so forth, the challenge is going to be how we retain and grow the TV audience. and the future viewer may definitely prefer digital media over traditional TV. Uh, so yes, while it's easier said than done, now everybody very conveniently kind of tom-toms how everybody would want to shift to mobile streaming, etc. It's not that easy. Let me tell you, there are so all of you guys in this virtual classroom, you know, I don't know how many of you are watching or streaming videos for 3 to 4 hours a day. Not many, I would believe, and that's primarily because of two reasons. One is that premium services cost you. Yeah, I mean, we love to talk about Geo TV and Geo apps. Uh, Currently, it's free, so we can all talk about it. But it may not be free for life. Uh, so that there is a subscription cost to it. How many of you and me are ready to pay that subscription fee is anybody's guess. And the second barrier, entry barrier, is bandwidth, broadband. A good broadband connection in India, when I say good broadband, I mean around 50 Mbps speed, is required to have an excellent viewing experience of Netflix, Amazon Prime kind of here. Not even 8 Mbps, because when you stream at 8 Mbps, maximum resolution you would get is 720p. If you want a 1080p or a 4K, you would need a 50 Mbps connection. So, which is available in India, in urban India. I don't know if it's there in rural India, but it comes at a cost. It's expensive. Even the geo speeds today, it's free, and everybody was talking about it. But the geo speeds are also anywhere between 4 to 8 Mbps. Only in certain areas are you getting 30, 32 Mbps. So speed is a challenge. Uh, Cost of broadband is a big challenge. So and devices are a big challenge. So all the phones, low cost phones that we are seeing, as these devices age, 1 year, 1.5 year after you own a mobile device, they go slow. That's because uh, content is getting heavier and heavier, more sophisticated, takes the juice out of your processor and RAM. So you need to upgrade your device. Your smart TV is going to go obsolete. Will you buy a new TV every 2 years? Then there is a broadband cost, then there's a subscription cost. So imagine if so today I can talk about me myself. I am a Netflix subscriber. I am subscribed to Prime Video, and I'm subscribed to Hotstar as well. So I have three subscriptions, and I also pay my subscription for Airtel, which is the DTH. So there are four subscriptions that I'm paying. Now going forward, would I want to have so many subscriptions, or do I prioritize? Because what happens is each of these providers, they bring something unique to the table. What Hotstar gives me is live sports, live cricket, and some HBO shows. Netflix gives me a certain kind of shows and movies. Amazon Prime again gives me a certain set of movies or and shows. So, and they're all mutually exclusive. So very few shows are common between Amazon Prime and Netflix. So that's a problem. That's where the consumer at some point is going to take a call that, hey, I'm not going to pay 650 rupees a month 4 times over, and hence I need to prioritize. So all this is questions that going forward, the OTT players, the broadcasters will have to ask. So it's it's easier said than done. TV is not going to die, not in India. It's going to live. We have heard people saying that how print is going to die, how radio is going to die. Every media has been proclaimed dead in India, but it's not been the case. Media has coexisted in India, just like 15 years back when Big Bazaar had come, when Pantaloons had come. People had said that the mom and pop stores are going to die. Today, so this I'm talking of year 2000, 98 2000 जब नया नया आया था. Today in 2017, as we know, if anybody is threatened, it's actually Big Bazaar. The mom and pop stores, the kirana stores are going very strong. So there is no problems, no issues as such. Today we see a lot of e-commerce portals selling grocery. Are they threatening mom and pop stores? I don't think so. uh, Everybody is finding their own niche. Everybody is finding their own little space somewhere in this large universe called India. So similarly, the media landscape is also going to undergo and see that change. Uh, TV channels will exist, will continue to flourish. Uh, your OTT and these apps that are coming up will also find its own space, will find its own takers. Uh, the consumers may be duplicated. People like me who would be paying a Tata Sky subscription, also a Hotstar subscription. Uh, so it's going to be a mix and match. It's not a either or situation. I feel it's an and situation. And for marketeers and business people like you and me, when we are doing media planning and buying in the future, uh, it makes our job that much more difficult because the number of media choices that we would have is going to only increase from here on. The marketing monies that we would have, the marketing budget that we would have, that will remain constant. So, as the media landscape becomes more and more complex, uh, it's a very big challenge for a media planner or a brand manager or a client or an agency to find that right media mix. And hence, your understanding of the media and the message becomes very important. You also need to consume each of these platforms, OTT or you know set-top box, and understand each media, each channel, each pipeline correctly as to how the consumer uses each of these devices or media in different situations. And your understanding how well you understand the consumer and as and when he uses it will help you plan your brand's media spends better. So yeah, so that's that. I mean, to give you an example, I was having a chat with a friend in Mindshare the other day, and he was saying that how uh, today when there are sporting events like when Indians reach the finals of Olympics and all, the time zone is such that we are stuck in traffic. It's airing at 6:30 p.m. in the evening. You are stuck in traffic. You start watching the match on Hotstar, and when you reach home, you catch up the climax of the match. Uh, and so on and so forth. So it's a multi-screen approach. So if Utsav is watching a cricket match on Hotstar and then switches off his mobile as he walks into his house and switches on the TV to continue with the same match, how will a media planner talk to Utsav over those 3 hours of the match over two devices? First, Hotstar or the mobile, and second through TV, which is your Tata Sky, Airtel, or the Dish TV subscription. So that's where the complexities emerge. That's where the duplication happens, and that's where incorrect media planning will result in you spending the entire marketing budget on the same set of people. So you are reaching, let's say, Utsav thrice instead of reaching out to more people, so on and so forth. So lots of challenges, but yeah, I mean solutions will come through. Satya just asked us what would be the future of TV ads. Nobody wants to see ads nowadays. Satya, it's very simple. Either you see ads or you pay up for it. So if you are willing to pay up for ad-free experience, you will have those solutions. But trust me, very few people in India want to pay up for a completely premium experience, a completely premium ad-free experience. Let me give you an example. Have you guys heard of World Space Radio? It used to exist a few years back. It was a satellite radio. It was a different receiver that you used to have, and you used to pay a premium subscription, and there were no ads, and there were multiple channels: rock, classical music, Hindi music, multiple. The business model failed. That is because the those guys paid a lot of money to acquire the music, hoping that people like Satya and Utsav would pay up for the subscription and enjoy music ad free, the way music is supposed to be enjoyed. But guess what? Not many people subscribe to it, or whatever number of people subscribe to it was not sufficient for them to run the business. It was not a feasible business model, and hence it failed, and hence they had to shut shop and go. So that's the reality. While none of us like those non-skippable ads on YouTube, or those non-skippable ads on TV, so to say, or as Soumya just said, those boring RJs on radio. What to do? How will we, the media broadcasters, earn money? We have costs. We have content costs. We have salaries to pay. We have our own costs. How will we meet those costs? We are entertaining you. We are making you smile, cry, laugh, jump with joy. We are doing all that. But how do we make money? Because if we don't make money, tomorrow we will not be able to come back with another episode for you. So the only way to make money is either through subscriptions or through ads. Now, India as a market is not yet mature enough to pay for subscription beyond the point. So that's where the problem is. US as a market is more likely and more ready to pay for subscription. So in US you have a lot of choice. You do not you want to pay a lower subscription fee. Yes, there is an ad plus subscription mix model there. You want to go all premium, you can completely eliminate ads by buying premium subscriptions for channels or apps or whatever. uh, so there is enough numbers for both kind of consumers there in US. In India the choice is very easy. you know we broadcasters, we just know that people don't want to pay. People would want to actually, digitization also has not helped consumers in a sense that earlier, when there was no set top box, people used to pay 200 rupees cable charges. Imagine all those 300 400 channels, they used to pay just 200 rupees. That's less than 1 rupee per channel per month. Now that's ridiculously low, because those households are not accounted today because of set top box. When suddenly those households are getting accounted, and you are no longer able to get away by paying 200 rupees, you have to pay the full subscription fee of 400, 500, 600, depending on your channel bouquet. That money is coming back to the broadcaster, and hence you are able to, because the broadcaster is getting that money back, you are able to see a Salman Khan in a Big Boss, or you are able to see Karan Johar bring on all the celebrities in Star World. That is what is paying the bills. So yeah, so more accountability, digitization, access is bringing the money back home, and that money is getting reinvested in better content. So it's a mix. It's a you see what you pay for. It's as simple as that. So Aryan has a point. What? Subconsciously yeah, Aryan. I mean, that's the history of advertising. You guys can read up on history of advertising as to why advertising came up in the first place. Did man need advertising at all? So those are the questions. Those are much more fundamental questions. In your free time, you can just kind of Google up and see. See, there are lots of textbooks, Soumya, that are there for managing media as a brand, etc. If you ask me, I'm not really sure. I'm kind of disconnected. Sorry, I'm kind of disconnected with the academics right now. Uh, but I'm sure if you Google around, or if you guys are, yeah, you guys are studying with Micah. So I think it's best you reach out to the faculty out there. They have a very good library. They would be able to suggest, yeah. But if you ask as to how we have learned managing media brands, we have learned grounds up. You know, we have started, we faltered, we fell on our face, we learned, uh, we rectified our mistakes, did it better the next time. So it's completely experience. Forums to follow, well, you guys can follow the usual forums: AFAX, Exchange for Media, AdGully, uh, Best Media Info. Yeah, all these websites generally talk about advertising at large, broadcast media at large. So good learnings from different campaigns that different clients do. So yeah, so I think if you do follow these kind of platforms, if you follow these platforms, I think it's quite enough. There's enough material and current material. So a lot of CEOs and brand managers are talking on these websites. So we'll give you updated current information. So earlier Praveen was talking about mobile base being higher than GOTV base. So Praveen, to be very honest, when you say GeoTV base is around 50 million, I don't know what you mean. Do you mean that Geo subscriber base is equal to GeoTV base? If that is what you mean, that's not necessarily true, because um, I may have Urban Clap installed on my phone, but I may not have opened that app even once in the last 6 months. So I would get counted as a download for Urban Clap, but am I a user of Urban Clap? Not necessarily. So I don't know, when you talk about GeoTV base being 50 million, how many are those active users? How many people are using GeoTV every day? I'm not so sure. So, these app numbers, you need to think deeper and ask tough questions. I have some updates which I received today, which I would want to share with you guys. It is uh, just 1 second. So we can call it a day. I hope I made some sense. uh, Bearing the technical glitches, I hope you guys could hear me. And yeah, so hopefully we'll meet you guys someday. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Bye bye.